How to think clearly and make better decisions. Stoicism. Clarity is power. The moment your mind becomes sharp, steady, and focused, everything changes. Your decisions stop being random reactions. Your actions stop being driven by impulse. Instead, you move with direction. You act with strength. Most people live in a fog. Their minds are filled with noise. Every emotion pulls them in a new direction. Every external opinion shakes their confidence. They react instead of choosing. They drift instead of leading. And then they wonder why they feel stuck. The Stoics understood that the ability to think clearly is the foundation of a powerful life. It's the difference between wasting years in confusion and building a future with precision. They built mental frameworks that cut through chaos. They trained their minds to remain calm when others lost control. In this video, we're going to unlock the Stoic way of thinking, practical methods to clear your mind and make strong decisions under pressure. This isn't vague motivation. This is real, ancient strategy sharpened over centuries. Before we begin, subscribe to the channel right now and turn on notifications. Join a community that refuses to live in confusion. Every week, we dive into Stoic wisdom and modern mindset training to help you sharpen your thinking and take control of your life. 1. Mastery of perception. Clearing the fog. Your mind is your most powerful weapon. But like any weapon, it's useless if it's dull, clouded, or uncontrolled. The Stoics understood that clear thinking starts with perception. The way you see the world, the way you interpret events, and the way you talk to yourself. Most people don't see reality. They see their fears. They see their insecurities. They see stories they've told themselves over and over again until those stories become prisons. When something happens, their perception instantly filters it through emotion, ego, and bias. What's left is a distorted picture, and decisions built on distortion lead to chaos. The Stoics trained themselves to strip away the story and focus on the fact. Epictetus said it's not what happens that disturbs us, but how we judge what happens. That's the difference between panic and power. When everyone else sees disaster, the Stoic sees a situation. When others see failure, the Stoic sees data. Imagine facing a setback. The average mind spirals, blaming, doubting, fearing. The Stoic mind pauses. It asks, what actually happened? What is under my control? What is simply a fact, without emotional decoration? That pause is where clarity lives. If you want to make better decisions, you must become ruthless with perception. Question your initial reactions. Separate the raw event from the mental noise. Remove assumptions, strip away exaggeration, and examine what stands when the emotion fades. Clarity isn't about having no emotion. It's about not letting emotion blind you. It's about training your mind to remain steady in the storm so you can act from strength, not fear. When you do this consistently, perception becomes a shield. Chaos loses its grip. Decisions become sharper. 2. Emotional control and inner stillness. The greatest battles you will ever fight are not out there, they're in here. Not against enemies, but against impulses. Not against armies, but against emotions that rise like waves and try to throw you off balance. The Stoics mastered a truth that most people ignore. If you don't control your emotions, your emotions will control your decisions. And uncontrolled decisions lead to regret. Think about how often choices are made in moments of anger, fear, jealousy, or pride, and how often those choices leave wreckage behind. A single reaction can damage relationships, ruin opportunities, or push your life off course. The Stoics didn't aim to be emotionless. They aimed to be unshaken. They trained themselves to observe their feelings without becoming slaves to them. When anger rose, they watched it. When fear whispered, they listened but didn't obey. They understood that emotions are signals, not commands. Inner stillness doesn't mean nothing happens. It means that when everything happens, you remain steady. Like a mountain in a storm, you don't move. You pause. You breathe. You create space between stimulus and response. And in that space, wisdom appears. The person who can stay calm when others panic holds an advantage that can't be bought. When your emotions are steady, your decisions become deliberate, not reactive. You don't get dragged by every passing feeling. You let them. This is not built overnight. It's forged in moments of pressure. Every time you choose calm over chaos, you sharpen your control. That's how inner stillness is born. Not in comfort, but in resistance. 3. Control what you can, release what you can't. One of the most liberating Stoic principles is also one of the most difficult to live by. Separate what's under your control from what isn't, and give your energy only to what you can actually influence. Most people drain their mental strength trying to control the uncontrollable. Other people's opinions, the past, the future, chance, fate. They fight battles they cannot win. They carry weights they were never meant to hold. The Stoics called this madness. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that external events are beyond his command. His job was to govern himself, his choices, his actions, his character. Clarity comes when you stop scattering your attention on everything outside your reach. Instead, you focus on your response, your behavior, your preparation. That is where real power lives. Think of it like steering a ship. The sea will rage. Winds will shift. You can't control that, but you control the sails. You control the wheel. You control your direction. A captain who wastes time yelling at the storm loses the ship. A Stoic captain adjusts and moves forward. Every time you remind yourself, this is within my power, this is not, you cut through emotional fog. You free mental space for decisions that matter. This isn't weakness, it's strength through focus. When you master this separation, negative thinking loses its fuel. You stop reacting to things you can't change, and you start acting with precision on the things you can. 4. Rational deliberation, thinking before deciding. The difference between an ordinary life and a powerful one is often a single habit: thinking before acting. Stoicism teaches that clarity doesn't come from overthinking or paralysis. It comes from deliberate, disciplined thought. Most people make decisions like they're on autopilot. They react instantly to emotions, impulses, and external pressure. They feel, then they act. But the Stoic reverses this. They pause first, analyze the situation, separate emotion from fact, then act with precision. Seneca said that rushing is the sign of an untrained mind. When your thoughts are scattered, you lunge at the first idea that feels good. But rational deliberation means you slow down the decision-making process, even in chaos. You ask powerful questions. What are the possible outcomes? What assumptions am I making? What part of this is emotion, and what part is reality? What decision aligns with my long-term vision, not just my short-term comfort? This method doesn't make you robotic. It makes you dangerously clear. You stop being pulled by emotional tides and start moving with calculated strength. When you apply rational deliberation consistently, your decisions stop being accidents. They become strategies. And every deliberate decision compounds over time, shaping a life built on intention, not reaction. 5. Virtue and integrity as decision filters. Stoicism isn't just about thinking clearly. It's about living with strength of character. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca all return to one core principle. Decisions should be filtered through virtue, courage, wisdom, justice, and self-discipline. Why? Because clarity without moral grounding can become manipulation. Power without integrity corrupts. A Stoic decision maker doesn't just ask, what works? They ask, what's right? When every decision passes through the filter of virtue, the noise of temptation, ego, and fear loses its power. Shortcuts that compromise your values become obvious traps. Easy paths that demand your integrity as payment are exposed for what they are, chains. Virtue acts like a compass in a storm. Even when the path is unclear, integrity points you toward strength. It keeps your mind steady when external rewards try to pull you away from your principles. A clear mind anchored in virtue is unbreakable. It doesn't bend for convenience. It doesn't crumble under pressure. It chooses the harder right over the easier wrong, not because it's comfortable, but because it builds a life of real power. When you filter your decisions through virtue, you remove countless distractions. You know who you are. You know what you stand for. And from that foundation, your choices gain unstoppable force. 6. The power of daily reflection. The Stoics didn't rely on random inspiration to stay clear-minded. They used daily reflection as a weapon. At the end of each day, they looked inward. They examined their thoughts, their choices, their reactions, not to judge themselves harshly, but to sharpen their awareness. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his journal every morning and night. He asked himself where he had lived according to his values and where he had fallen short. This wasn't weakness. It was strength through honesty. He understood that a foggy mind grows when it's never examined. Reflection is your mental mirror. It reveals the moments where emotion took over. It shows the decisions made in haste. It uncovers the thought patterns that quietly sabotage your clarity. And once they're revealed, you can adjust. You don't need hours. You need consistency. A few focused minutes each day, writing, thinking, reviewing. Ask yourself, what did I control today? Where did I act with strength? Where did I allow emotion to lead me? What will I improve tomorrow? Daily reflection builds a fortress around your mind. It keeps your perception sharp, your emotions grounded, and your decisions aligned with your values. Over time, This habit turns mental chaos into mental precision. 7. Turning obstacles into opportunities. The Stoics didn't run from challenges, they transformed them. Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This principle is the heart of Stoic resilience and a key to clear, strategic decision-making. Most people see obstacles and freeze. Their thinking collapses under pressure. Fear floods their mind. But the Stoic sees something different. An obstacle isn't a wall, it's a signal. It forces adaptation, creativity, and strength. When your mind is trained to reframe difficulties, every problem becomes a platform for growth. A setback becomes data. A rejection becomes redirection. A failure becomes a sharpened lesson. Clear thinking isn't about living a life without obstacles. It's about seeing obstacles accurately and choosing powerful responses. Instead of asking, "Why me?" the Stoic asks, "What now?" Obstacles strip away illusions. They reveal your real priorities. They make your decisions sharper because they demand focus. They test whether your principles are real or just words. The moment you train your mind to see obstacles as opportunities, negative thinking begins to die. Fear loses control. You step into life as a strategist, not a victim. Closing. Claim your mind, claim your life. Clarity is not luck. It's not something the world gives you. It's something you build. Every Stoic principle you've heard is a tool: perception, emotional control, focus on what you can influence, rational thought, virtue, reflection, and resilience. Each one is a weapon against mental fog, a shield against impulsive decisions, and a path toward strength. When you apply these principles, you stop drifting. You stop being a passenger in your own mind. You become the captain. Imagine a life where your thoughts are steady, your decisions are deliberate, and your emotions follow your leadership, not the other way around. Imagine walking through chaos with calm in your eyes. Imagine choosing power over panic, clarity over confusion. That life is not distant. It begins the moment you decide to train your mind like a Stoic. This is not theory. This is practice. Daily. Reflection at night. Rational thought in the morning. Emotional control in the heat of the moment. Integrity in every choice. If you build these habits, the world can't shake you. If this message spoke to you, subscribe to the channel right now, turn on notifications and join a community that refuses to live in confusion. Here, we build sharp minds, strong character, and unshakable clarity. Your mind is the greatest asset you will ever own. Train it, guard it, master it, because when you own your mind, you own your life.